this video I want to look at narrative theory and how it will be useful when relating it back to my coursework. What is narrative? Narrative is a story that is told. It can be in fiction or non-fiction text, and there are many different theories based around narrative. In this video I will look at 4 examples of narrative theories. The first example that I am looking at is Propp's character theory. Propp analysed fairy tales and came to the conclusion that there was a specific number of different character types. These characters all had different roles in each narrative text. To show these characters, I will refer to the story of Snow White. The hero in this film is the prince. He is traditionally the protagonist of the story and the one that is sent on a mission or saves the princess. The villain is the antagonist and attempts to stop the hero from completing his mission. In Snow White, the evil queen is the villain as she does not want Snow White to take her place. The donor helps the hero, and in this case the animals help Snow White find the dwarf's house. The dispatcher sends the hero on a mission or encourages them to do something. Again, the animals also play this part of the story because they encourage the dwarfs to go and look for Snow White after she has taken a bite out of the poisonous apple. The queen turns herself into an old hag who tries to help Snow White achieve happily ever after, but really her intentions are to kill Snow White. This sort of character is called a false hero in Propp's theory, someone that begins as though they are on the good side but then are revealed to be the enemy. The helper is basically a sidekick, so the one that helps the hero. This role is very similar to the donor's role and is played by the animals and the dwarfs. The princess is another main role and is traditionally taken by the villain and saved by the hero. However, in many recent films, women have portrayed the hero or have portrayed a princess that doesn't need to be saved. Snow White is a princess here and is nearly killed by the queen, but saved by the prince. The last role is a father figure. This person is usually someone who protects and loves the princess and is usually their father. Seeing as Snow White's father had died, the dwarves look after her, which makes them the father figure. The next theory is one by a Bulgarian theorist named Todorov. He believed that every story follows the same path, the beginning, the middle and the end. In his theory, he referred to these parts as an equilibrium, a disequilibrium and a new equilibrium. The first equilibrium is portrayed as something that the audience understands as normal. Something then happens that changes what is seen as normal. This is the disequilibrium and is usually a new character, a new storyline or actions that lead to a fight. The final part of the theory is the new equilibrium. The middle part of the story always happens to resolve an issue, but once it has been resolved, it does not always go back to how it was before. It will always be different and will always be a new equilibrium. This links to my work because I can use this theory to plan out my music video. The equilibrium is a teenage girl, the disequilibrium is her feeling she isn't good enough, and the new equilibrium is this girl realising she doesn't need makeup and fancy clothes to make her feel happy. She's perfect the way she is, which is a message that the singer would be trying to tell other teenage girls. The third theory is about the reading of signs. This narrative theory is by a man called Roland Barthes, and he suggested that there are 5 different codes that the reader or viewer will use to understand what is going on. These are action, enigma, symbolic, semic and cultural. The action provides a narrative in itself. It helps you to understand how the story works. The enigma is the mystery in the story. There has to be something in the narrative that intrigues the audience into what will happen next. Symbolic and semic mean connotation and denotation. Connotation is what you think it means and denotation is what you see. Anyone reading or watching will use these things to determine the meaning behind specific things that are mentioned or shown. The culture in the narrative creates a uniqueness for each story. Levi Strauss was a social anthropologist and studied the idea that everyone has their own experiences and past that they will unconsciously relate to anything that they are reading or watching. He linked this in with binary oppositions, which are 2 opposite things. This can be anything, for example male and female, old and young, or rich and poor. For a narrative to be successful there needs to be a balance between these. For instance, the film can't just be all happily ever after or all death. There has to be a bit of both in it. I can relate this back to my work as I have both negative and positive ideas for my video. I want the girl to be upset about her appearance but at the end be happy with how she looks. I plan to use Todorov's theory to help me create a clear storyline of exactly what I want to happen, the beginning, the middle and the end, so that I can storyboard it out to create an effective music video.